In the battle of young stud quarterbacks, Lamar Jackson versus Justin Herbert, Lamar came out on top Sunday. Is Red Hot Baltimore looking like the best team in the AFC? Well, it was another day to forget for Baker Mayfield. Are Baker and the Browns contenders or pretenders? And Patrick Mahomes, Nick, 2 more picks yesterday. That's 1 and another one. That's 2, but the Chiefs did pull this one out. They walked away with the win. Good Monday morning, everyone. Welcome to First Things First. Jenna Wolfe, a very perplexed Nick Wright, Chris Broussard, Kevin Wildes, your guy, Patty Mahomes, Nick. Interception issues. They won, but you cannot deny he's having some interception issues.
You know, I've got to tell you, I think for the first time all year, the Chiefs might be back. Not because they won, but because they won by 18 on the road. And the question is, are the Chiefs in trouble? The Chiefs are back, baby. 21-0 second half. Are they in trouble? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Let's go. Chiefs are back, baby.
All right, we'll get to the since back Chiefs. We got to start in New England. Game of the week, maybe even game of the season. Cowboys, Patriots. This is a tight one. Oh, look at that from CeeDee Lamb. Dallas was on the Patriots 35. We were in overtime. Dak finds CeeDee for the game winner. It was a monster day for their wide receiver. 149 yards, 2 touchdowns. Cowboys have now won 5 in a row. Dallas with the wild win. It wasn't all great news, though. After the game, Dak Prescott walked to and from the podium. You see it there in a protective boot on his right foot. He suffered a calf strain on that last play. He'll undergo an MRI today. But he did downplay the injury after the game, saying, quote, "I'm fine." Nick, I'll start with you. You starting to believe the 5-1 Cowboys can win the Super Bowl?
I will answer that question in just a moment, but I do want the audience to know we will get to the Patriots portion of this game during our Moral Victory Monday segment in about 30 minutes. That's when Kevin Wildes will explain to everyone how excited and happy he is about another close loss for the Patriots. Oh, we could have just won if we hadn't lost. But on the Cowboys side of things, listen, I am the chairman of the committee, and the committee had the Cowboys at the top of the NFL. So obviously, I think they have the talent to compete for, get to, and potentially win the Super Bowl. But they are going to be held back by what has been proven to be the most inept game manager, clock manager, situational coach in the entire NFL, and Mike McCarthy, which is why this morning, after a game that I'm sure 25 million people watched, in a season that is pacing to be one of the most watched seasons in recent memory, where we have seen time and time again of Mike McCarthy not being able to tell time, that Broussard, I think the Cowboys should take a page out of the old LeBron James playbook, which is, I know we're in first place, but I also know deep down our coach is going to hold us back, and the right guy for that job is already on the staff. I think the Cowboys should tell Mike McCarthy, thanks, but no thanks, we'll see you later. Kellen Moore, you've been elevated. Dan Quinn is there. He can be the mentor, if you will. He's been a head coach of a team. Because what you see from Mike McCarthy, and last night or yesterday was no exception, with the 4th and 1, we can grind out the clock and kick a shorter field goal. Oh, no, I'll kick a 51-yarder. And then at the end of regulation, not knowing what down it was and calling timeout for the Patriots, you add that to the clock nonsense in week 2 against the Chargers. Week 3, he did it again. Week 1, he kicked a 60-yarder at the half that almost gave Brady 3 points. You can't win a Super Bowl right now, Broussard, with this guy botching things. Kellen Moore is going to be a head coach in the NFL next year. The question is, will it be for the Cowboys or not? I would make him the head coach right now. Mike McCarthy, thanks for your service. It's no longer needed, my friend. And if they did that, I would say the Cowboys are the best team in the NFC by a wide margin.
Nick, I'm almost at a loss for words, but I'm going to figure out something to say. What? How in the world? Wait, all right, look, let me start here. I am not the biggest Mike McCarthy fan. All right, I thought it was a strange hire when they hired him in Dallas. I thought it was a pretty poor hire when they hired him in Dallas. But the fact is, Nick, they're 5-1. And you bring up David Blatt. LeBron James, one of the best players we've ever seen, didn't want David Blatt as a coach. That's an entirely different situation than what we see in Dallas. Who's the LeBron James there? As much as I like Dak, as great as he is, and Ezekiel Elliott, neither one of them is LeBron James, number one. So they don't have the clout to make that type of call that LeBron did. And number two, they're not trying to get rid of him. The players in Cleveland saw through David Blatt and weren't listening to him because they didn't think he had it. Do we see that in Dallas? No. Nick, this is crazy. All right, they're 5-1. How can you say he can't win a Super Bowl when, let me think, he's already won the Super Bowl. And don't tell me the game's passed him by. That was a decade ago. Because when the game passes an old coach by, we can tell. And you know how we can tell? By the record. When Mike Shanahan went to Washington, we knew the game had passed him by because he couldn't win. When even John Gruden, we can even say the game may have passed him by. You know how we know? Because he never had a winning season in his 3 years in Las Vegas. Mike McCarthy, this would be just like the Cowboys. Right now, everything's going smoothly. You got a host of wide receivers who are all very good. And guess what? There's no jealousy. They're pulling for each other. You got two very good running backs who are very good. And you know what? Instead of jealousy, they're pulling for each other. The defense is wildly improved. The offense is top 2 in the league. There's no drama. And let's just create some drama by firing our head coach at 5-1. Yeah. Nick, last thing I'll say is this. I like Kellen Moore, too. But where's the proof he's going to be a good head coach? Didn't Josh McDaniels look like the next great head coach after all his years in New England?
No,
how'd that work out in Denver?
It would be a
Didn't
risk.
Adam Gase look like he's going to be a great head coach after Denver? Matt Nagy going to be great? We don't know. Why am I going to ruin a season right now by just all of a sudden throwing a huge question mark into a smooth thing running? Wilds, I think that's crazy.
Oh, see, I'm in a jam here, Broussard, because I love crazy ideas, but I hate firing guys at 7:35 in the morning on a Monday. So I'm in a tough spot. So I'm going to try to meet Nick in the middle. Maybe he doesn't need to be fired, Nick, and you need to do one of two things. One, just like Dan Campbell has a strict clock management timeout person. Maybe this person is a Harvard-educated football genius. Maybe it's a former player who has spent time crafting up a new model. That's option number one. Option number two is this. Just hire someone, a fan from the stands of your opposing team. Because when I was watching that game, and in the first quarter, Mike McCarthy decides to go for it, you know what I said? Yes, let's do it, McCarthy. Good call. You got to do the opposite of what I want. And then when they decide to kick a field goal and miss and leave Dak on the sidelines, you know what I said? Yes, good call, McCarthy. So you have to put a fan in the owner's box, or maybe right next. I could be right next to McCarthy, and he could read my face. Like, wow, do you think we should go for it here, or let Dak, let Dak try to get the first down? I'm like, oh yeah, kick a 50-yard field goal and miss that. That'll work. Do that. So you got to do one or two things. Because to Nick's point, Broussard, and I'll throw it to you, Nick. This is going to bite them eventually. We are going to come on this show at some point, and Nick is going to give us a huge "I told you so," and we'll have to be like, "Oh boy, Nick's right again." Ugh. So he is right.
Week 1, end of the first half, 60-yard field goal for no reason against Tampa, gave Brady a chance to score before the half. Week 2. Do you guys remember when he didn't call timeout against the Chargers, kicks a 56-yard field goal? Week 3, end of the first half. You have Philly in a 3rd and 24 with 1:50 left. He never calls timeout. You guys remember the referee walked over to him and was like, Mike,
I forgot about that.
Everyone's asking you to call timeout. Forgot about that? That happened. It was only through 6 weeks. Yesterday, He challenged a play immediate. What are you doing with that challenge? Play you're talking about at the end of the half, and he called timeout for the Patriots at the end of regulation, I think only because he didn't know what down it was. Guys, I understand, Broussard, it's controversial, but Jerry Jones is not afraid to make big moves. And there is another element to this. Does anyone think Kellen Moore is not a head coach somewhere next year? So if you don't make him the head coach in Dallas, you lose him. And I understand Wilds' point, which is, let's just take this off McCarthy's plate. It's the only thing left on the plate, guys. He doesn't call the plays. He's not in charge of the defense. Kellen Moore runs the offense. His only job is the thing he's terrible at. So I get it. No one's expecting it. But if the Cowboys are going to win multiple playoff games, they are not good enough to just blow people out. And as good as Dak is, he's not Aaron Rodgers in his absolute apex prime like when they won that Super Bowl. I don't think they'll do it, Jenna. I think they should, because I think they are good enough to win a Super Bowl if they stop butchering the end of these games.
Well, the Dallas Cowboys with Mike McCarthy just won their 5th straight game.
That's fair.
We'll get to the Patriots side of things in just a little bit, but sticking with Dallas, we got to talk some Trayvon Diggs. Another interception, his streak up to 6 games after yesterday's house call. Did that stud catch your eye in week 6? Talk about that. First things first.
Are those Tom Brady's eyes?
Who caught your eye this week? For me, it was Trayvon Diggs, who caught yet another ball on defense. Cowboys, Patriots, and Diggs taking his 7th INT of the season to the house. It ties Hall of Famer Rod Woodson's record for most interceptions through 6 games. What a start Trayvon is having. But Chris Broussard, who opened your eyes in week 6?
Jenna, it was Derek Carr. And obviously I knew about his ability, but we all know what was going on in Las Vegas. The turmoil surrounding John Gruden. They needed him to step up and show leadership and maturity, and he did just that. Plus, he had been on the Bud list for 2 straight weeks. Broussard's under the rest list. We know how anxiety-inducing that can be. So he goes out, has a huge game. You see it, 341 yards against a Denver defense that had only allowed like 207 yards a game. First possession, Nick, he comes out, 48-yard touchdown to Henry Ruggs. Then they score on the second possession. It calms his team down, lets them know this is our sanctuary. No matter what's going on out there, we are good in these lines. And then he has a great pass to Kenyon Drake to score a touchdown right before the half to pretty much seal the game at 17-7. So Derek Carr, my eye-opener, Nick.
That's a really good answer, and stay here just for a second. So, because I know a lot of people weren't watching Raiders-Broncos because it was on at the same time as the Cowboys-Patriots game, which the whole country was watching. But just to be clear, so the Raiders, who had to make a coaching change despite having a winning record, first-time head coach, had never done it before. They played really well, so it can be done. Hey, Dallas, maybe think about it with Kellen Moore. Rich Bisaccia, Paisan, just think about it. I'm just saying, just think about it. My eye-opener, on the other hand, though, is someone, this is a little ironic. I think I'm using this correctly. My eye-opener is someone who I believe played yesterday with his eyes closed. And that's Daniel Jones. Oh, remember those glorious 2 weeks when Daniel Jones didn't turn the ball over and he was turning a corner? Well, now he's back. 3 picks, 2 fumbles, 1 loss, and just total and utter domination by the Rams. Wild said he doesn't like firing people at 7:55 a.m. Well, how do you feel about firing GMs at 7:52 a.m.? Because that's what I'm doing. Dave Gettleman, out of here, pal. No, Gettleman's got to go. Gettleman, every decision he's made's been the wrong one. Every single decision he's made's been the wrong one. Tell me one good decision Dave Gettleman's made. And every time he makes these decisions, he then gives these press conferences where he's like, conventional wisdom says don't take a running back number 2. Well, let me tell you what I think about that. And we're going to get to see it play out. Daniel Jones. Oh, everybody laughed at me for taking Daniel Jones. Well, luckily, we're going to get to see how it plays out. Well, we've seen how it plays out, and it played out the exact way we all said it would. You look like a doofus, Gettleman. So Daniel Jones, I don't blame you for being Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones, today's a rough morning for you. All you need to do, type this into Google, Chase Daniel Spot Rack. Click career earnings. Be very lucrative in this league to be a backup quarterback for a decade. That's the life you're going to lead. It'll be great. You won't get hit. You won't fumble. You won't play. You'll make millions of dollars. He's a backup quarterback. The Giants are a mess. Gettleman's got to go. Wilds, you think I'm mean, but you know I'm right.
Well, I'm just happy my guy Joe Judge survived your, Monday morning massacre of HR. Joe Judge still okay. Just for the record, Joe Judge, Patriots had their second punt blocked of the year, so if you want to come back home, seems like we need a little bit of help. My eye-opener, however, it's not about the Patriots or about my guy Joe Judge. It's old TJ Watt, and I mean eye-opener literally, because I was watching this game. I said, what just happened? Are you allowed to do that? You are. It's a little glitch in the matrix here. So TJ Watt comes in here, just starts punching the ball. Now look, I know there's a lot of, you get an unsportsmanlike penalty for saying like, yeah, I tackled you. That will get you 15 yards. You are allowed to viciously punch the ball on the guy that's holding. Oh, there's an uppercut. Like Fury Wilder here. So here's the thing. But there is some strategy to this. If we can show TJ Watt's strip sacks. Yesterday he had 7 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, 1 forced fumble. And strip sacks, he leads the league since 2017. So look.
Yeah,
I know, but the punching, I got to make a new rule. You get 1 punch.
The punch.
You get 1 punch, that's okay. 2 punches is unsportsmanlike. 1 punch is fine. But you can't just start throwing combinations on the thing. That doesn't work.
He did win the game for them with the strip on Gino.
It has to be a football.
He was practicing. That is a football play. Somebody holds him up.
Well,
you come in and it's a football play.
Gino
that's
not.
If I was saying,
that's not a football play.
If we were playing charades,
and his forward progress was stopped anyway,
and it was football, and you started going like this, I wouldn't be like football.
Yeah. No, that's not. Yeah. Counterpoint. A football player did it in a football game, so it was a football play. That's the counterpoint. Charades guy.
That's okay.
I'm not playing charades with you.
No, Nick's
like
right.
Miserable Saturday
Steelers
night.
did win the game. Tough loss for Gino. Back talking Knicks quarterback, Mr.
I'm
Wright.
down.
Show these highlights.
Give me a call.
2 more INTs yesterday, and the turnover troubles turning into a big problem for Mahomes. First things first.
They won by 3 scores.
Time to run the no huddle back to Cowboys Patriots. All right, so New England lost in overtime to Dallas, but Mac Jones had New England in it till the very end. How about 15 of 21? How about 229 yards and 2 touchdowns? But he did get pick 6 by Trayvon Diggs with just over 2 minutes left to play in the 4th. Overall, though, not a bad day for Mac Jones. Kevin Wilds, resident Patriots fan, I assume you like what you saw out of Mac yesterday despite the overtime loss to Dallas?
Okay, all right. Let me get ready here because I got a lot of complicated feelings. A lot of people were like, Wilds, are you satisfied being 2-2-0-2? 2 wins, 2 losses, 0 ties, 2 almost wins. The answer is I have mixed feelings about it. Here's why. I believe in Mac Jones, and he has led us to this 2-2-0-2 record. But Josh McDaniels, can you please let the guy cook up a little bit? I don't need to see any more graphics like, 3/4 of the game is gone, but Mac Jones is 10 for 10. I'm like, all right, sure. But that's like getting perfect attendance and then just getting C's. It's like, yeah, one thing is really good, but the thing that actually matters is kind of, you're not really achieving what you want. He threw the ball 21 times.
You're getting there.
Dak threw the ball 51 times. So here's what I saw, and I like Josh McDaniels. I will never say anything bad about Josh McDaniels, but if I were, Mac Jones can't throw the ball down the field. He's a rookie. Cam Newton can't throw the ball down the field. He's got a shot arm. Brady's last year, we were 12th throwing the ball down the field. Now he's first. He's lost a step, Tom Brady. I don't know, bud. That's 3 different quarterbacks that can't throw the ball down the field. One who's throwing the ball all over the place in Tampa. Let's take a few shots. Oh, we did once, and it ended up being a touchdown? Throw the ball. Let's go. We play the Jets next week. Air the thing out, for the love of God. I'm starting to feel like 2-2, 0-2 is not good enough, Broussard.
Well, Wilds, I was starting to worry about you. I was thinking you were about to jump off the Mac train, but then you kind of redirected it, and you can say you didn't shoot bullets at Josh McDaniels, but you really did. And I'm fine with that, because I do agree they need to let Mac cook. All right, let Mac cook. That said, I'm pleased. What I saw, can I see his passer rating was 119. Nick, 119. He is the only rookie quarterback of the first-round draftees who has hit 100, and he's done it 3 times. All your boys, Trevor Lawrence with the big neck, Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, who you love, Justin Fields, who you love, they haven't hit 100 once combined. And Mac Jones has done it 3 times, Nick. And let me see that pass to Hunter Henry. Look at this. Putting it right between 2 Cowboys. What a throw. That is fantastic. And then, of course, the 75-yarder. I mean, that goes without saying that was a good throw. Here's what I like, though.
No,
the moxie. All right. Mac Jones, right after throwing a pick 6, what looked like it was going to be the game-losing
he tried to throw another
pick 6, he not only goes right after the Dallas defense on the very next play, but he goes right at the guy who picked him off, his former teammate Trayvon Diggs. I love it.
And it was
this kid's got the goods, Nick. You need to jump on the bandwagon now. We'll forget the past few months when you've been dissing him if you jump on it now. He's good.
No.
Great, good.
None of that's going to happen.
No, he's not, and I'm going to address all of this. First of all, one thing Wild said that is totally true. The reason you want to push the ball down the field is because sometimes you make a terrible throw like this one, and you score anyway because the defense screws up. This is a pick. Mac Jones tried to go back-to-back picks to lose the game. The safety is covering it, and the safety just runs behind the play. So the idea, but that's why you take chances. That's why you push the ball down the field. But Wilds was on track here, because at one point during the broadcast, Jim Nantz said these 2 sentences in order, and these should never happen. Mac Jones is 10 for 11 passing. The Patriots are 0 for 5 on 3rd downs. Huh? How is that true? Because it was all spoon-feed nonsense, as it has been all year long. Because they are coaching as if a 100 passer rating is the goal. Mac Jones had the ball with the lead with 2.5 minutes left, needed 2 first downs to win it, threw a pick 6. They won the coin toss in overtime, couldn't move the ball, Cowboys won. The 75-yard touchdown was not a good decision. It worked out good for him. But here's where I'm going to put my buddy Kevin Wilds in the torture chamber a bit. Honesty moment, my friend. Were you happy or sad the Patriots won the toss in overtime?
No, I was definitely happy. Definitely happy. I thought we could score.
Really?
I thought, look,
okay.
Yes, of course. Okay. Of course.
Okay.
I didn't like that we punted.
Right.
I didn't think we could stop Dak. I think Dak cooked us up, obviously. It was 3rd and 25. You still lose the game. Is insane. But here's a little tip, and I rarely do this, Jenna, and then we can move on to bashing Mahomes, where I feel more comfortable. This is a tip. It's a Little League tip and an NFL tip to Josh McDaniels. When I was in Little League, I realized, I took it from another Little League player, who just threw the ball the last warm-up pitch as hard as they could against the backstop. Wild. And my whole team's like, got up to bat like, oh, we're so scared now. This guy's going to hit me. It's great. Just air it out every once in a while to let the other team
to
think you
soften
might.
the defense.
And then do your little
course.
passes. That's why Trayvon picked it off. Because, like, well, he's not going over the top. It's all going to be these little things. I'll just wait and wait and wait and wait and grab one. And he finally did it. Air it out, please. Doesn't even have to be a completion. Throw it to the cheerleaders. Just throw it downfield.
Okay.
Memo to Josh, air it out. Head to Washington, D.C. Chiefs found themselves trailing the football team at halftime. So just to recap, Chiefs trailing Washington at the half, Nick. Partly due to the fact that Patrick Mahomes threw 2 more picks.
What happened in the
second half was one of the...
gonna drive me nuts.
Second half...
What happened?
Okay. All right, listen. Chiefs bounced back, put together 3 touchdown drives in the second half. They pull away. They beat Washington 31-13. But after the game, I said that. I lowered the bass in my voice, as Broussard would say. After the game, Mahomes, listen to him on something he rarely needs to address, his turnover troubles.
I'll move on to the next play. I mean, it's this league. You're gonna go through adversity. I mean, we've been blessed enough that I haven't had to deal with a lot of that early in my career. I mean, I've had a lot of interceptions this year. It's not a secret. I mean, you kind of have to just move on. You got to just kind of keep playing, because at the end of the day, if the interceptions, I mean, they're on the stat sheet, but if you're getting wins, no one really cares about them. So you have to find a way to win games no matter what it takes.
I care about it.
Patrick. Hard to win games when you lose their turnover battle. Yesterday, notwithstanding. Chiefs have lost their turnover battle 4 times this season, tied for the league lead with the Patriots and the Jaguars. Nick, should the Chiefs be happy with the win or disappointed in another 3 turnover performance?
Listen, I'm happy. How about this? I don't know how the Chiefs feel. I'm happy. Because the Chiefs are back to being the Chiefs. And what do I mean by that? Do I mean because they played a perfect second half of football on both sides of the ball? No, that's not why. Do I mean because if you actually look at it, the offense and the defense, or Mahomes and the defense, I should say, played outstanding for every single play, with one glaringly obvious awful play. For the defense, it was when 2 guys ran wide open at the end of the first half. For Mahomes, it's the play you guys keep running on a loop, as if we don't have highlights from the second half when he tore them up. But that's not why they should feel great. They should feel great because they just won by 18 points on the road, won 21-0 in the second half. And the question is, are you concerned, Nick? Are you worried? How do you feel? You know what that means? That means they're back to being the future favorites, America. Because we wouldn't ask that about any other team. 18-point road win, good or bad? Getting back to 500, good or bad? And Broussard, I got a question for you, my friend. How long again until the Chiefs are under 500? 3 years? 6 years? I hope America enjoyed these last couple weeks when they were under 500. But look at the schedule. Tell me if you think they're going to be under 500 again this year, and then let me know if you think, because I think it'll be 2028 until Jenna's able to put up again. Oh, look at the Chiefs under 500. I hope you enjoyed it, America, because it's over. And that defense, Broussard, second half shutout, forcing turnovers. Chris Jones coming back.
Rev it up, Broussard.
Getting there, buddy.
Look.
We're getting there.
Nick, I think America's learned not to put too much stock in your Chiefs predictions, but that's neither here nor there. All right. Finally, I agree with Nick. That means that finally he's right on this show. I'm with Nick. But here's the reason why I'm not concerned about the turnovers. Because the guy making the turnovers is Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes is still, don't get it twisted, he is still the best quarterback in the NFL. All right? Now, without question. Here's an example, and this goes kind of to what you were saying, Nick, about, we're questioning them even though they blew a team out. If Pat Mahomes had the type of game that Justin Herbert had yesterday, who's regarded as now a top 5 quarterback, bells would be going off all over the NFL. What in the world is wrong with Pat Mahomes? We expect such greatness out of this guy that when he does it, when he throws an interception or 2, we just don't know how to act. So I'm not concerned at all about Pat Mahomes. He's always been a bit reckless, but the guy that's responsible for a good chunk of these turnovers is Tyreek Hill. Tyreek's got to start catching the football. 2 of Mahomes' 8 picks this year have gone through Tyreek Hill's hands. And you can jump on Mama Mahomes for tweeting all you want, but she ain't lying it ain't Pat Mahomes' fault. And Nick's right, the defense looked great. I get it. Washington's not very good offensively, but the defense, they got Daniel Sorensen out of there. I kind of liked him, but they got him out of there, put Juan Thornhill in, made another adjustment at linebacker, and the defense looked much better. So, yeah, it was I'm happy if I'm a Chiefs fan because I think that was a step in the right direction, Wiles, especially the second half.
No, okay. I'll make you a deal. I'll take the Tyreek Hill interception off the board. How about that? I think it's fair. That should have been a catch. Sure. That should not go on his record. However, the other interception should count as 5. That's how bad that was. So you actually opened up a Pandora's box. It was so bad. And I think that you guys are glossing over how horrible of an interception this was. You'd be like, oh no, it's just one play. It's not. It's indicative of deeper problems with what Mahomes is pressing on offense that he doesn't think he has to do too much. I'll give you an example, Jenna. It's like if you had a baby. And it's like, oh, how's the baby's vocabulary? Like, oh, it's really good. They know all of these words. And then they know a few sentences in a dead language that hasn't been spoken for 5,000 years. Like, whoa, that's a problem. That's what you see in horror movies. That's not great. That's how bad that interception was. There is something wrong with his decision-making right now that he doesn't believe in your offense if he's forcing plays like that rather than taking a 3-yard loss.
From that.
It is. Don't tell me the second half.
That would be a great point. That would be a great point if we didn't have the evidence of the second half.
Well, the offense is broken. He's pressing. I don't think he's the same guy. And then he played a perfect second half. Great day for the Chiefs, by the way. Ravens beat down the Chargers, who I was wrong about, evidently. 1 game out of first, baby. 1 game out of first, Jenna.
And babies are speaking Yiddish everywhere. Back talking Baker and the Browns now. Another brutal day in Cleveland for the quarterback. Are the Browns looking more like contenders or pretenders? Talk about that next. But first, Aaron Rodgers with a message to the city of Chicago. All Bears fans yesterday. Check this out.
I looked up in the stands, and in the front row, all I saw was a woman giving me the double bird. So I'm not sure exactly what came out of my mouth next.
I'm going to show it old school. See, they don't do this in basketball no more. I'm going like Jabbar. Abdul-Jabbar, sky hook, I'm telling you. Abdul-Jabbar, they don't know nothing about that. These young boys, all they want to do is shoot threes.
Broussard with the sky. That's our very own Chris Kareem Broussard with the sky hook of sky hooks. A couple things. One, both teams are wearing black. I don't even know how you guys do that. The form was fantastic. Nick, put a grade on Broussard's sky hook.
Well, I'd love to grade it, but unfortunately, he got whistled for the old 5-second Mark Jackson back down rule. So it was waved off, Wilds, waved off. Everything about that was old school. How many times are you going to dribble in the paint, Broussard? What's happening there, Wild?
Oh, stop. That's A+. That's A+. And don't think that Broussard can't shoot it from 3. He just wants the mid-range. It opens up the 3. Now you got to guard him all over. A+. Great job. Basketball starting soon.
You should call back.
A lot more.
If only Andrew Bynum had learned that. DeAndre Jordan can't learn that. I'm doing that. They can't do that. Come on.
Wow, Andrew Bynum.
It's unstoppable.
I like calling your own shot, though, both moderating the game and playing the game. Talk some Cardinals-Browns now. No Cliff Kingsbury or Chandler Jones for Arizona, both out with COVID. Didn't matter. Baker and the Browns had nothing going in this one. Baker fumbled it away twice, got picked off once, misjudged throws, re-injured his left shoulder, his non-throwing shoulder, on one of the sack fumbles. It was just a terrible day for Baker. And the Cardinals took advantage. How about the Arizona Cardinals? They improved to 6-0 on the season. After the game, though, an injured but defiant Baker Mayfield.
First off, how are you feeling with your arms in a sling? How bad is it?
Feels like you could ask anybody in our building, have we played to our potential? Absolutely not. And so, yeah, I can speak as that, from a leadership standpoint. We expect to be better. That's plain and simple. And that's what we're going to have to do. We're going to have to come out with a sense of urgency. We're not panicking by any means. We're 3-3. We have 11 more games to go show who we are and play for each other and get better as each week goes on, because nobody makes the playoffs right now. You have to build that up, and you have to, peak at the right time. So we will handle this correctly. We will do that, and I know that because of the guys we have in the locker room, and we will get better. It's just a fact.
Our facts include Mike Vick, who's here with us to break this one down. Mike, good morning to you. Happy Monday. Here we go. But, Nick, I'm going to start with you. What was your biggest takeaway from Baker and the Browns' blowout loss to the Cardinals yesterday?
Jenna, I think the Browns might be in real trouble. If there was ever a week to not have a Thursday night game, it would be the Browns this week. But Guess what they have? The Thursday night game. Mike, they went into this game without their 2 starting tackles, without Nick Chubb, and with Baker dinged up and Odell dinged up. During the game, Baker got hurt more. I thought J.J. Watt did one of the things you see when a guy's really hurt. He mid-play was calling guys over like, hey, he's going to need help. And I'll give Baker credit that he didn't miss a play. He came right back in after the punt. But that arm's not going to be better by Thursday. Kareem Hunt got carted off, and Odell, who got dinged again in this game, and, by the way, had another critical 4th down drop. Mike, this Browns team has beaten the Texans, the Bears, and the Vikings, and they have lost to the Chiefs, the Chargers, and the Cardinals. This was supposed to be one of the best teams in the league. I picked them to be in the AFC Championship game against Kansas City, and it feels to me like a season that could get away from them quickly. The defense, aside from Myles Garrett, has been nothing like I expected it to be, and the offense at this point is as injured as any offense in football. And Baker, who I've supported, but he has not shown progression this season, is not able to, certainly when he's hurt, carry an undermanned offense. So my biggest takeaway with respect to the Cardinals, who blowout win and, they get forgotten, my biggest takeaway on the Brown side of things, Mike, is I think they're in real trouble.
Yeah, I agree, and I think Baker Mayfield, he's trying to pull an Iron Man. I don't know how long he's been hurt, but it seems to me that Baker's out there trying to play hurt. And the best thing right now for him, I think, is to allow Case Keenum to go in and try to give this team a spark. Get himself healthy, because when you try to play when you hurt, you tend to make more mistakes. You're so worried about re-injuring your injury, and you just can't be comfortable. And that's a real thing. So, I think not only is it about what the defense is doing and what they're doing in all 3 phases of the game, Baker out there trying to make plays, and when you're trying to make plays and you're not feeling good, other things tend to happen that's a detriment to the offense. And, I just think now it's time for him to step back, and Thursday night is right around the corner, and it's not going to get any easier. So, he has to go have a conversation with Case Keenum, allow him into the lineup, and see if they can create a spark this Thursday. I think it's important.
Yeah, and that's interesting, Mike, because the thing is, if they let Case Keenum in and they essentially surrender the next few games, they could really be out of it pretty early. I mean, the Bengals obviously are playing better than anybody expected. Pittsburgh might be better than, we thought a few weeks ago. I mean, at least they got another victory. So we all saw that Baker can't carry the team on his shoulders. And we knew that, particularly when he's injured. But without Nick Chubb, Nick mentioned the tackles that were missing, they had no running game. And so they were looking for Baker. They needed him to make things happen with his arm, and he just couldn't do it. And as you said, Mike, the turnovers, the interception, but then 2 fumbles lost. He's had 3 fumbles now in the last 2 games. I don't know how much that's related to his injury. But they're really in dire straits because there's no guarantee Chubb will be back Thursday. Kareem Hunt obviously is going to be out. Now Odell's injured too. We don't know if I assume he'll play, but you never know. So it's a tough time to sit Baker down because you're in dire straits, Wilds. But they may have to I think it depends on how soon he could come back. If sitting him down would bring him back in 2 weeks, then I'd do it. Yeah. But if it's like you can play through it, it's not going to get better even if you sit out, then he's going to have to play through it.
I mean, it's got to get better. He knew about this weeks ago, and remember we were like, labrum tears, no one talks about them, but there's going to be an issue, and it affects your whole mechanics. And Mike said, yeah, it's not great. So, Mike, I think you're right. I think you sit him down for Thursday, but I don't think, and you said something interesting here, and I want to dig into it. Do you think that it's on Baker to say I can't go? Because I don't think Baker will do that. I just don't think that's how he's built. I think he's looking for a contract. I think there's too much media kind of scrutiny on him. And if he's like, I can't go, I think Stefanski needs to, like, literally and figuratively take the ball out of his hands and say, you know what? We're sitting Baker down. I made the call, Kevin Stefanski. We'll see how he is against the Steelers on Halloween. But I trust in Case. We played well in Minnesota together. Let's give him the ball, and we still think the guys that can win it. Do you think that it's Stefanski's job, or do you think that Baker needs to be like, hey, I'd like some rest?
Yeah, it's on Baker to be forthright in this situation because as quarterbacks, naturally, we want all the glory. We go through the training camp, mini camps, we go through all of that, and then we do that for success on Sunday, Mondays, and Thursdays, and it's hard to take that step back. It's hard to admit when you actually hurting, and you know, as a quarterback, you want all the glory, like I said. It's tough to watch another quarterback or the guy behind you go in, win 2 or 3 games, and get all the glory. I mean, that's just the nature of the position. And when you're a competitor like Baker Mayfield is, you just don't want that. But I think he has to come to grips and, you know, with the reality of what he's facing, try to get healthy over the next couple weeks. Hopefully Case Keenum can win some games, and then he can come back and make some plays and win some games.
And listen, and maybe if he sits Thursday, they then have 10 days, maybe he would only have to miss 1 game. Maybe could be back the following game after the Thursday night game against Denver. I think they could beat Denver with anyone at quarterback. Denver's really bad. Denver, they got fooled by beating the Jets, Giants, and Jags, but everyone beats the Jets, Giants, and Jags. So, like, I think you maybe could beat Denver either way if the Browns' defense can figure out what the hell's going on. I know we always talk about Baker, and again, Baker's playing for a contract extension. He's controversial, as #1 pick. I understand all of that. But what's also true is, in the Browns' 3 losses, they've given up 33, 47, and 37. That means in their 3 losses, they are averaging giving up 39 points per game. Can't win that way.
39
that
points.
It can't just be Myles Garrett and friends, Jenna. The defense has to at some point stand up, aside from the 1 game they won 14-7. And so I thought the defense was going to be really good. It has been anything but this year, Jenna.
2 things. 1, I also did that math. I averaged the 39. And number 2, Baker never missed a game, by the way, in the NFL due to an injury. So we'll have to keep an eye on that one for this Thursday night. All right, back talking Dak and the boys took overtime, but they took care of business yesterday in New England. Hey, is it time to start believing in the 5-1 Cowboys as Super Bowl bound? We'll discuss that next. First things first. Bye. Time now for Stories to Start Your Morning, sponsored by Ram Trucks, built to serve. We are in New England. Patriots hosting the Cowboys, and what a game. We're in overtime. Dak rolling out, finds CeeDee Lamb. That is your game winner for the Patriots. They dropped to 0-4 at home for the first time in the Belichick era. Dallas improves to 5-1 with their 5th straight win. But not all good news for the Cowboys after the game. Quarterback Dak Prescott, you see it there, walking to and from the podium in a protective boot on his right foot. What if he just walked to with the boot, then took it off and walked away without the boot? That would be weird. He suffered a calf strain on that last play. He'll undergo an MRI today. He did downplay it after the game, saying, quote, "It's fine, I'm fine." Nick, you starting to believe, though, that the 5-1 Dallas Cowboys can win the Super Bowl?
Well, this is an odd place to be because typically going to overtime, needing to go to overtime to win in New England, a place literally every team that has played there has won this year, except for the team that lives there in the Patriots. I mean, everybody wins in New England. Patriots are 0-4 there. You'd be like, okay, that's not a sign of a great team. But when you see Trayvon Diggs have another game-changing play, and you see CeeDee Lamb just run all over the defense, well, receive all over the defense, and you know they have Zeke and Pollard, and you know Dak is playing at a level where he's a very legitimate top 4 MVP candidate, along with Kyler, Tom Brady, and Lamar, and they're 5-1 winners of 5 straight. It's hard to say they're not only can they win the Super Bowl, are they the favorites, the co-favorites to win the Super Bowl? But, Broussard, the reason I can't say any of that right now, even though they're atop the tiers, is because every single week their coach botches something that should not be botchable. Week 1, kicks a 60-yard field goal, 60 yards. The end of the first half, gives Tom Brady a short field and opportunity to add points. Week 2, settles for a 56-yard field goal at the end of the game instead of running a play or calling timeout with 30 seconds left. Week 3, butchers the end of the first half so badly, the referee, remember, went over to him, Mike, I'm here because you're supposed to be calling timeout. And he's just deer in the headlights. Week 2, he was like, I couldn't see the clock. Week 3, didn't have an explanation. And then last night, again, he called timeout for the Patriots, kicked a field goal on 4th and 1, 51-yarder instead of going for it. It's terrible. So I say that to say this. We've seen this happen before where a team has a good record, but they know the coach isn't the right guy. And they know the right guys that are on the staff, and you're going to lose them if you don't elevate them. Jerry Jones should take the bold move of saying, you know what? We are better off without Mike McCarthy as long as we keep Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore, you can be the head coach. A little Sean McVay situation where the young, unproven head coach has an old defensive coordinator who's been a head coach. Remember, Sean McVay had Wade Phillips. He has Kellen Moore can have Dan Quinn there to help him with the mechanics of being a head coach. You make sure Kellen Moore doesn't leave the building. You fix your clock management issues, and then you become the actual favorites. I don't know if Jerry will do it. He's the only owner who I think would even consider doing it because he knows and you know and we all know deep down in our core one of these game management issues is going to bite them and cost them their season. It happens every single close game the Cowboys are in.
Nick, I couldn't disagree more. I mean, and I'll answer your question for you. You don't know if Jerry's going to do it, as in fire Mike McCarthy. I'll guarantee that Jerry Jones is not going to do it. This isn't one of those wild guarantees where it doesn't come to pass. I guarantee Mike McCarthy will be the coach of the Dallas Cowboys next week. All right? He's not getting fired, Nick, nor should he. Nick, come on. Look, I'm not the biggest Mike McCarthy fan.
Do you think it'd be good for them?
I thought it was a strange
But do you think it'd be good
for
them? Forget if it's going to happen.
No.
You think it'd be good for them?
No. They're 5-1. All right? Look, it would be so Cowboys-like to fire Mike McCarthy. Because we know, Nick, over the past decade, it has been one thing after another with the Cowboys. Every week, there's some type of drama. It's Jerry Jones saying something on the radio, or it's somebody getting injured, or it's Ezekiel Elliott with his issues off the field. It's always something. And now, we finally are in peacetime with the Dallas Cowboys. They're 5-1. The offense is top 2 in the league. The defense is much improved. The wide receivers aren't competing against each other. There's no jealousy. There's no ego. They're pulling for each other. You got 2 very good running backs who, again, no jealousy. They're pulling for each other. This team everything is peaceful. And now you want to go ahead and inject some drama by firing the head coach, who, as I said, has a 5-1 record. How can you say, Nick, that they can't win the Super Bowl with him when he's won the Super Bowl? And I get it was a while ago, but he's proven that the game has not passed him by because he's still winning. He's winning. And furthermore, where's the proof that Kellen Moore is going to be this great head coach? I'm with you. He'll probably get hired next year. But we don't know that he'll be great. We thought Matt Nagy would be great as a head coach. We thought Adam Gase would be great as a head coach. We thought Josh McDaniels would be great as a head coach. Why in the world, when I have a sure thing working fine, would I inject a giant question mark, Wilds, into the program by firing the coach and then giving it to an inexperienced guy like Kellen Moore?
Yo, I'm not even sure Josh McDaniel's a good offensive coordinator, never mind head coach. So, Nick, I'm going to try to meet you in the middle here. Do you think you could hire someone to get in McCarthy's ear? And I'll give you two options. One, it's someone who just specializes in clock management, down and distance type person. It's like, or you can like follow that Twitter robot that's always like, you should go or you should not go. Or two, it's a fan of the opposing team. Because when I was watching this, it's like, oh, you're going for it in your own territory in the first quarter? Yeah, do that. Oh, you're kicking a 51-yard field goal instead of giving it to Dak? Yeah, do that. So you just have a fan whispering, you're like, yeah, you should do that, and then do the opposite. But seriously, do you think that they could just hire someone else to be like, yeah, you're not good at this. This is eventually going to bite us. Now listen to this person. We're going to lean into analytics. You make it a big thing.
Yeah, and you wouldn't have to hire some specialist. You could hire someone who just stumbled out of Club Shay Shay with some edibles in their hand. As long as they played Madden for 10 hours in their life, they'll be better at this stuff than Mike McCarthy is. Like, it is egregious every single week. But at this point, Wilds, okay, so Dan Quinn's in charge of the defense. Kellen Moore's in charge of the offense. Jerry Jones and his son are in charge of the personnel. Mike McCarthy's in charge of what? Well, we want to make sure the team's well coached, which means we're tight on penalties. Is that the Cowboys? Or are they penalized all the time and yesterday, no different? Okay, well, he's got to be the one to make the big decisions. Well, now you're taking that off his plate as well. All of a sudden, there's nothing left on the man's plate. Mike McCarthy doesn't want there to be nothing on his plate. It'd be good for him. And you're right, Broussard. I don't know that Kellen Moore would be a good head coach. I do know that if I ask Kellen Moore what time it is, he doesn't say, Christmas is December 25th. He can do the job that needs to be done. I understand, I don't doubt that. And Dan Quinn's on the staff. He coached in a Super Bowl. So I understand it's a bold thing. But everyone thought when the Cavs said David Blatt, go away, Ty Lue, no experience, come be the head coach, it was crazy. They were 30-11, the best record in the East. They end up winning the title. Now, I know LeBron James isn't walking through that door, Jenny, even though Jerry said he tried to sign him as a tight end years ago. But still, take a page out of that book, Jenna.
Where's the LeBron on Dallas?